It's so important that we understand that our brain is electrochemical. We are in the midst of a brain health revolution, and we are uncovering the key components of the neuroscience of the entrepreneurial mindset. It's important for us to always realize that our brains send electrical signals throughout our body every day, and they are evident through brain waves. The entrepreneurial mindset has several key pillars. Those pillars include resilience and stress regulation, risk perception and reward, cognitive flexibility and adaptability, creativity and innovation, and lastly, emotional intelligence and social cognition. A lot of emphasis oftentimes is placed on the chemical and anatomical functions of the brain. But what about the electrical functions? I like to call it our brain power. First, we have to really understand why these pillars are key to the entrepreneurial mindset. When you are an entrepreneur, it's important to possess resilience and to be able to regulate your stress. There will be a lot of adversity in this space, and our brain's capacity to regulate stress contributes to our level of resilience. Risk perception and reward is super important because entrepreneurship requires calculated risks. We must master our brain's ability to perceive risk and anticipate reward. Cognitive flexibility and adaptability is essential. If we are cognitively rigid, we will struggle with adaptation and we will not respond to changes effectively. Creativity and innovation is key, and it allows us to create our unique ideas and be innovative. Emotional intelligence and social cognition is a no brainer. If we do not possess emotional intelligence, it'll be very difficult for us to work with others and succeed in our professional relationships. The brain operates as an electrochemical organ. It uses fluids, hormones, and electricity to function. When we think about the anatomy of the brain, you always want to remember your major brain systems. We have the frontal lobe, which I like to refer to as the CEO of the brain. It sits right behind the forehead. Our temporal lobes sit right behind our temples. We have the parietal lobe, which sits on top of the brain after the frontal lobes, and the occipital lobe, which is in the back. And lastly, we have the cerebellum. These major brain systems all work together, allowing us to function, think, experience emotions. And if we think about their electrical capacity, we step into a whole nother realm of possibilities that I like to call the brain wave revolution. So let's think about brain waves. For a very long time, we have monitored brainwave activity using EEG. EEG is a method by which we can record and observe the electrical activity that our neurons create. Our neurons are cells inside the brain that connect with each other, communicate with each other, and we have billions of them. The brain creates different brain waves by synchronizing various electrical pulses, and we're able to monitor this activity. And historically, we've monitored it from a disease treatment approach. But as we have evolved, we are using EEG monitoring for so much more. Let's review our brain waves. Gamma is the fastest brainwave state. And when gamma waves are predominantly present, it means we are in a state of peak concentration and learning. Beta waves are the second brain state and happens to be the dominant state of the waking mind. It's the state that we're in when we engage in activities of the outside world, and it's a high frequency, low amplitude state, and it uses a lot of energy for us to maintain. Our alpha state is a more relaxed and more meditative state. Alpha brain waves allow us to be more creative, solve problems, and it's often referred to as a flow state. We also have theta and delta. Theta brain waves have a greater amplitude to alpha. Theta brain waves are present when we're in a dreaming state and also in deep meditation. Lastly, we have delta, a very, very special, unique brainwave state that's associated with deep, restorative, healing sleep. Delta brainwaves stimulate our pituitary gland to release human growth hormone. It also is a state in which we release anti-aging hormones, melatonin, DHEA, and it allows us to decrease our stress levels. High cortisol is associated with high stress, and this promotes premature aging. If we think about the waves, beta, alpha, theta, and delta, consider beta your normal waking state of consciousness. Alpha would be more deep relaxation. Theta is when we experience light sleep and also rapid eye movement, dream states. And lastly, delta is associated with a very deep sleep, no dreaming, automatic self healing, immune system restoration, and it's why getting sleep is so important. So, when we think about entrepreneurship, there's so much that's thrown at us every day, and oftentimes we don't prioritize our sleep. When we are lacking with sleep, we can oftentimes observe challenges with our decision making capabilities. We also know that sleep deficiency is linked to many chronic health problems, including heart disease, diabetes, stroke, obesity, and depression. When we go to bed, we are usually in a low beta state, and then we turn off the lights and we descend from beta to alpha to theta and finally delta. Sleep occurs in different stages, and we dream in 90-minute cycles. The delta brainwave frequencies increase into the frequency of theta brainwaves. That's when active dreaming takes place, and that's when we see rapid eye movement, which is characteristic of active dreaming. Two great resources to help you understand more of the powerful benefits of sleep are these two books, Dr. Matthew Walker, Why We Sleep, and Dr. Shane Criado of Amen Clinic's Peak Sleep Performance for Athletes, the cutting edge sleep science that will guarantee the competitive advantage. Always remember that we spend about a third of our life sleeping. Being awake for 16 hours straight decreases our performance as much as if we had a illegal blood alcohol limit. We are the only mammals that willingly delay our sleep. And when we do that, what we experience is more disease in the body and impairments on our health. When we think about additional brain waves, we have to think about meditation. Meditation is super important. This is when we get quiet, but we're still awake. This is where creativity shows up. You always want to remember as an entrepreneur that creativity doesn't only stem from being busy, but it also emerges from stillness. Routine meditation can help us make decisions more easily. Regular meditation leads to more neuroplasticity of the brain. You always want to remember that your brain is not a static organ, but it is capable of changing its connections and rewiring. Neurons that wire together fire together. Meditation helps us to reduce our blood pressure. Mindfulness meditation has long been used by various populations around the world to help improve memory. And meditation helps us to slow down and prevent neurodegeneration. In 2013, Dr. Rebecca Gladding wrote in her article in Psychology Today that meditation allows us to loosen the neural pathways between our brain's fear center and the centers that are what we refer to as the me center. That means that as we reflect on our own behavior, our belief system, how we're showing up, we're less likely to struggle with a negative self image and self doubt. Why do we care about that in the neuroscience of entrepreneurship? Because it is doubt in ourselves, our surroundings, and our abilities that is the number one cause of failure of entrepreneurs. Always remember, mindset is the key to successful entrepreneurship, and you cannot have a robust entrepreneurial mindset if you have not mastered your brainwave activity.